Hi, this is Joe. Welcome back to the Appraisal Toolbox. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about one of our resources under the Skill Sharpener section, and it has to do with the 6 functions of 1. And it's a spreadsheet, Excel spreadsheet that we created and developed for you that deals with all of the different 6 function of 1 formulas. And we've put together some programs that produce an endless number of sample problems that you can work through. So if you need some repetition doing some of these problems, maybe you're taking a course, getting ready for exam, this is perfect information for you. And then we also have a section where you can go in and actually put in your own variables and see how the different 6 functions of 1 are affected. So let's start by looking at one of the buttons up here. And the first one is the installment to amortize 1. I'm not going to go through all 6. They're all basically set up the exact same way. But if you were to click on this first button that has to do with basically with loan payments, you'll see that it opens up a screen. And let me enlarge it a little bit so we can see it better on the screen. There we go. And one of the things we do with these worksheets is we avoid using macros because of all the conflicts with different systems and security and so forth. So all of our problems are refreshed, if you will, by using the F9 key or the function F9. So right now, if I was to press the F9 key, you'll see that, let me put it over here. Here we go. You'll see that the variables for the question change up in the yellow box. They just randomly, the loan amount, how many years, what type of compounding, etc. They just randomly change. And that gives you the opportunity to answer as many of these questions as you want. As soon as you see one that you want to try to answer, you could go ahead and try to work the problem. And then to see the correct answer, click on the green box here, and that'll take you to the link with the same variables. And it'll show you all the different calculations that we derive from this information, and we show you the actual HP12C keystrokes that you enter to solve this problem. And if you want to go back and choose another problem, then you actually just go back here where it says go back to balloon payment page. We'll go back here, and from here we can hit that F9 button again, and you'll see that we have different problems coming up, and we'll try let's try a monthly one. And we were to go solve that with our HP12C. We're going to check our answer, click here, and it would show us again for that particular problem. Here's the keystrokes. Remember, because it's a monthly problem, we have to use the G button to what? Convert the interest rate and the N, or the number of periods, to 12. And the interest rate to a periodic interest rate, which in this case would be 1/12 of the annual interest rate. And because this is a balloon payment problem, you also see how to enter in the balloon payment information and solve for the balloon amount down here. When you're finished with these problems, if you've done enough of the balloon payment or the installment to amortize 1, just go back to the main page then, and that'll take you to the other ones. And real quickly, if we just looked at, like, for instance, sinking fund factor, which is over here, you'll see the same thing, that if you want to accumulate this much money 4 years from now with semi-monthly deposits, or 24 deposits a year, we would just click on this, and you'll see that there is the solution right there. There's your answer. You need to deposit $4,208 per period. Okay, so let's go back to the main page and take a look at one more thing before I let you go. And this has to do where, as I mentioned before, you solve for the 6 variables. So if you want to put in your own information, because those first 6 up here at the top of the screen, you cannot enter the variables. Those are just random problems for you to practice. But if you have a particular problem that you want to solve, you'd come down here to this section where it says you solve with your variables, and you'll see that we put together a screen here. And again, I'm going to go ahead and blow this one up a little bit so we can see it better. There we go. And we're going to pick the kind of problem we want. So we're going to put in up here, for instance, I put in $75,000 as our amount, 10 years with an annual interest rate of 8%. Now we're going to select what is it that we want to solve. Do we want to solve the loan payment, which is the installment to amortize 1? Do we want to figure out the sinking fund factor, what it will take to accumulate that amount? So for whatever it is that we want to do, any of these 6 functions of 1, we would pick the one we want. So let's say, again, we want to do the sinking fund factor. So we're going to select that. And you'll see everything adjusts. And we want to do this on a monthly basis. So we're going to come down here and pick our compounding for monthly. And you'll see that the solution says $410. And what does that mean? Well, if we go up here in this box, it adjusts for us. And it tells us, based on the selections that we made, which are all over here, everything over here in the blue, to accumulate $75,000, the amount we put in, we must deposit $410 right down here each month. And how do we know it's monthly? Because we selected monthly compounding. Again, to help you solve this on your calculator or your HP12C specifically, we then show for each of the registers which registers you're going to be using, which register you're not using and which one you're trying to solve for. And because this is a sinking fund problem, we are trying to solve for what? The payment key, which is right here. So that's what we're trying to solve. If I change this to a present value of 1 problem, then what am I trying to solve? I'm trying to solve right here, the present value. And I would not be using a payment key because present value of 1 deals with 1 amount in the future, and we want to know what it's worth today. So a little bit of some hints here on what keys you're going to be using to solve these problems so you can get accustomed to them. And again, you can work through as many as you want, and once you get familiar with each of the 6 functions of 1, again, good time then to go back to one of these 6 buttons here and just practice them. And you can randomly go through as many questions as you want and see all the solutions. Okay, hope that helps, and check back with us soon. We've got a lot more videos coming out and a lot more resources, including our Skills Sharpener section. Thanks again. Bye.